Welcome back, Buttercup. Thank you for joining us on another rendition of my books and songs original tag. This one is titled Pop On Punk Songs book tag, and we're mainly focusing on pop songs that I enjoy and also punk. I kind of wanted to do this for a while. I was still trying to figure out what genre I was going to choose, and then when I was talking to Adam Rodriguez and Bad and Kaz on Kaz's channel, Book is Kaz, Adam mentioned pop, and I'm like, oh wait, there is such a thing as pop punk, so we're going to go forward with this tag. This is the fourth part in this series, and I'm just excited to be here. Now, jumping into the first question, Barbie Girl by Aqua. A book that has dolls on the cover, or a book about dolls. And I'm going to go with Doll Bones by Holly Black, about a young girl being haunted by a doll supposedly made up of bones from a murdered girl, which that is metal as hell. That is on my TBR, and I'm really interested in reading that. The cover is creepy and gorgeous at the same time, so I did have to choose this novel even though I haven't read it yet. Number 2, Punk Rock 101 by Bowling for Soup, a fiction or non-fiction book about punk or rock. I am going to go with Get in the Van on the Road with Black Flag by Henry Rollins. I do love a good Henry Rollins. I actually prefer his albums that he was on Black Flag as the lead singer. The current singer is great, but I just love Henry Rollins. Really just enjoy everything that he does, even though he's an angry little nugget. Sometimes you just need angry little nuggets to make your day. And that's what Henry Rollins does whenever I listen to an interview of him or one of his songs. Number 3, Every Morning by Sugar Ray, a book that you kept reading well into the early morning, whether it was good or bad. Though I hope it was for good, because you're kind of wasting your time and your sleep if you're reading a book that you hate into the morning. But prompt is love it or hate it, and I'm gonna go with this is so silly. I'm going with Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, PhD. Very important distinction, which is bad because it is a book about why we need sleep, and the average amount of sleep that we need is 7 hours and 13 minutes. So 7 hours minimum and 9 hours for teenagers and children. 8 is kind of average, but lower 7 hours. I did not get 7 hours. I probably got 5.5 at that time. And the problem is double, because it was a book that I borrowed from a friend, and I remember half of that book because I did not comprehend and hold on to half of that book because I stayed up too late. So I did buy it, and I'm going to reread it. Number 4, Say My Name by Destiny's Child, a book you loved or hated about the spouse being shady or violent. And I'm going with Verity by Colleen Hoover. I don't really read books about shady or violent spouses. That's just not my interest in books, but I read this with Patrick and Brian. I don't even remember. It was sometime this year. It was like a haze because it was not good. So I'm going to go with that. And I have said in the past, don't be like them and then you'll have a perfect relationship. So yeah, don't be like anyone in Verity, actually. Just bad. Number 5, Iris by Goo Goo Dolls, a book that has true love as the main plot point that you loved or hated. And I'm going with A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I love that second book. I am a Reese fan. I'm okay with Feyre. Feyre is kind of annoying, and I mean Reese is annoying in his own way with his growly mate thing when they realize that they're mates, and he likes to growl a lot at people in the later books, but in this book he is pretty cute. It is better than A Court of Thorns and Roses in my opinion, and I was told the Court of Thorns and Roses is good, the second book is amazing, and then the third book is average, which that actually, for me personally, that was accurate. I rated the first book 4 stars, the second book 5 stars, and the third book 3 stars. Number 6, Blink-182, All the Small Things. A satirical book or short story you've enjoyed, and I'm going to go with A Modest Proposal by Jonathan Swift. I read this in high school. I already knew that this was a satire speaking about the hunger issues and the poverty and children not being able to eat, or just anyone not being able to eat enough food in Ireland at this time for various reasons. And that's why I laughed really hard when we were reading this in English class, and people thought I was batshit crazy, but they did not know that it was satire, and they didn't know anything about this period of famine and poverty and all the problems going on in Ireland at this time. So that's why Jonathan Swift wrote A Modest Proposal. It's a political satire. And even when the teacher said it's satire and explained the whole thing for the rest of the class, I still got a little side eye for a couple of days afterwards. But you know, it is damn well fantastic. Number 7, Pet Sematary by the Ramones, a children's book about pets that are undead that you loved as a kid. And I'm going to possibly pronounce this word wrong because it's not a real word. Bunnicula by Deborah Howe. But it's a mixture between bunnies and Dracula. Bunnicula. Yeah, whatever. We're going forward with this. I'm not going to waste your time on trying to figure out this word. I couldn't pronounce it when I was in 4th grade, and I can't pronounce it now, but it's funny. I thought it was pretty amusing. It is about bunnies that are vampires. And there's a dog and a cat with a family. It's a great little family. But the family adopts these weird bunnies. And the dog and the cat, who are the main characters, they have to figure out why these bunnies are so weird. And it's like, the concept is funny, and it's just hilarious. I don't know. I had my qualms with it when I was younger, because it's like, not very believable, but then again, it was amusing. I think it's like 3.5 stars out of 5. I remember liking it but not loving it, so that's why it's 3 out of 5 stars, or 3.5, whatever it is. But I have recommended it. I was tutoring, and I was the person to go to for book recs in the tutoring center. I've recommended that book quite a few times to children or preteens, and they loved it. So it does resonate still. It's an older book. It still resonates with preteens today, or advanced readers that are children. I think there was one that I recommended, and she was in 3rd grade, but she was reading at a 9th grade level. She's probably reading PhD studies at this point. She was great. Number 8, The Passenger by Iggy Pop. A book you loved or hated about road trips or long travels in a car. I'm going with Hell's Angels by Hunter S. Thomas, who wrote about Hell's Angels biker gang. They were a 1%er biker gang back in the day. I'm pretty sure this was the time when they are somewhat known. You live in a certain area where they always pass by. My dad had when he was 12, 13, when was this, Pennsylvania? I think it was around there. Somewhere on the East Coast, he and my grandparents and his brother, my uncle, they were at a, what was that called? Like a camping ground. And it just so happened that the Hells Angels and the pagans decided to have an altercation at this particular campground. And so my grandparents figured out what was going on when a bunch of bikers just decided to congregate, and they were split. And he was watching them. They weren't fighting yet, but yeah, he was watching them as the camper was leaving the area. So I know about Hell's Angels and the pagans because he told that story when I was in elementary school, so I knew about them. Basically, in the early 2000s, we all know about Hell's Angels, but during the Hunter S. Thompson time, unless you did not interact with them in some sort of way, you did not know about these 1%er biker gangs. But then the book came out and they got popular, weirdly popular. Like, there are some things where you are definitely glamorizing and romanticizing the 1%ers. Let me tell you some stories. Number 9, Blue by Ethel65, a book with either a blue cover or the word blue in the title. I'm going with Under the Whispering Door by T.J. Klune. The background is mainly blue, and that counts, okay? I made the question. I'm saying thumbs up to it doesn't need to be fully blue. Also, lovely book about death and how to grieve and the grieving process. I do recommend that book. Not just because it has blue on the cover, but it's a great message. Number 10, Institutionalized by Body Count, the cover. Because Institutionalized was originally created, written, sung by Suicidal Tendencies. But I just recently came across Body Count's cover of Institutionalized with Ice-T with his punk band. Love it. I had to include it because, yes. The prompt for this is a book that made you angry. Very simple. That's basically what the song is about, though, so we're on point. And I'm going with Tender is the Flesh. Plot holes. Plot holes everywhere. I read. It's in the beginning of the story where the writer says there are no animals anymore. The whole concept is that we can't eat animals no matter what type of animal. Okay, that's the red flag right there. But no animal can be eaten because there is a virus, bacteria, whatever, in all animals that will kill humans. So we eat humans. They've set up across the world, all over the world, factory farming for humans. Now, I've heard people say that they threw up in their mouths reading this book, that they cried, that they tossed it across the room, or, yeah, okay, great. It's very graphic. You are going step by step in a lot of cases on basically slaughtering humans for meat, as one you would do with pigs, chickens, cows, whatever. But you don't do that with animals anymore because supposedly virus, bacteria, or whatever are in all animals, and all the governments across the world in all the countries have killed off all the animals. Red flag number 2, 3, 4, 5, all up red flags. That's not possible. So that means you've also killed off all of the bugs, all of the insects, even the ones that we don't know about because they're in the deep, deep forest of the Amazon. Like, no, I don't believe it. And then you would not be alive in this world or in, this alternative universe where whatever time period it's supposed to be in, humans would be dead as well. You don't need a virus, bacteria, whatever the fuck it is that this writer is saying is in all the animals, or, you know, government officials in the book are saying. We would die eventually without animals. That is the hugest plot hole in this book. And then a little later, guess that was caught, because in the book it says, oh yeah, there's animals, there's insects, yeah, and there's small animals, like, you know, in a pond, yeah, there's frogs and all that stuff, but we killed like the big game animals, but not really, because there's still dogs out in the forest. Like, are you serious? Okay, it could have been better if you just said that mammals have this virus or bacteria, and then left out all the other animals, and somehow, some way, all the countries, or most of the countries, or at least the country that this book is set in, have agreed to not eating insects and reptiles for protein, and now we're, you know, trying human flesh. Does that completely work? No, but it still makes sense, way more sense, compared to, yeah, there's no animals at all on Earth anymore. Wait, just kidding, there are, but like, not really, but actually, yes. Come on. And number 11 isn't a question, but it is to tag as many people as you can. So I'm going to tag Jonathan, because I've tagged him in the other videos. I'm going to tag Adam, Kaz, Bad, KC, and Nathan. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!